Hey boos and bays. Before I even start speaking, I'm gonna put a little disclaimer out there. If you see the title, so you know what this is going to be about. If you're going to be offended or leave dumb comments, please leave now. So all I'm going to do is delete them anyway. I'm not saying this is all Nigerians. The one I specifically dealt with was from the Yoruba tribe. Yeah. So by the title, you know I've been scammed. I was married for 4 years to a guy named Akeem Adijumo. Again, he was from the Yoruba tribe. So here goes my story. To date, it's kind of still hard to talk about, so if I like wander off, if I stop for a minute, it's just me trying to calm down. Okay, so as of January, I'll be divorced for 2 years. So it took me 2 years to upload this video. So here goes nothing. So I met this guy, you know, on campus, and he was here on a school visa. Come to find out, very charming, very nice. Gave me everything I can ask for. We went everywhere. It was just like what you would call a perfect relationship, almost too perfect. Like he was trying to do, I took it as if he was foreign. That's what they did. You know, this was kind of men they are. But now that I look at it, he was trying his hardest, you know, because he knew his motives. And I had to agree to marry him, so he's gonna, you know, be this perfect guy. So anyways, so he charmed me, he wanted to dine me, he stole my heart. Fast forward, we got married. Okay, and before we got married, everybody kept telling me not to do it, but they're like, it's a scam, it's a scam. And me like, no, it's not him, not me, no, it's not. You know, my father was like, you know, I'm going to support you with everything you do, but you know, congratulations, but you don't even have my blessing in this. But I love you, and I'm here for you if you need anything. But baby, this is a scam. No, it's not. You know, I'm pretty sure all my family members thought the same thing. Like, you married an African? Oh gosh, she's been scammed. I'm like 100% sure they thought of that. I even had an auntie come to me and tell me to be very, very careful and to protect my heart. And so, anyways, we got married. Beforehand, he was all charming and stuff. After we got married, he turned to the man from hell. Like, seriously, the way I talk, I changed. The way I walked, I changed. All because he demanded me to. He even changed my name. ID Doing was my new name. That's what he called me. He didn't call me Laquita. He called me ID Doing. That was my new phone name. So, he made up rules in the house. I couldn't use a dishwasher. That's for lazy people. I couldn't use the washing machine or dryer. I had to wash the clothes in the tub by hand. And to dry it, we just put it all over the house. Like, spread out across the couches and everything. He didn't want to buy anything with me. Meaning he didn't want to, you know, commit to anything with me. He didn't want to buy a house. He did not want to even buy furniture. He didn't want nothing to do with anything of that. I created a home by myself. Furniture, decor, everything out of my pocket by myself. He gave me a set $300 a month, and our bills was $1,200. He's like, this is all I can afford right now. You know, I'm in school. I have one more class, and you know, we can be like your parents, and you know, sold me a dream. So yeah. He even started insulting me and my weight. He would say, you know, you're 200 pounds. No, he said, you're 250 pounds. 250-pound woman, you know. And I started running. Everything he wanted me to do, I did. You know, I even responded to the name he was calling me. He wouldn't eat my regular food, so I learned how to cook Nigerian food. But he still didn't eat that. He would laugh at me. He did eat my burgers. He would wake me up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just every single morning, just to make him a burger. All this was fine with me. I did everything he asked of me. You know, I didn't talk back. I didn't do anything because in my mind, I'm like, this is my marriage, and I'm going to make it work. I'm not going to be a statistic. I'm not getting a divorce. Whatever he wants, I married him. This is all my fault. Period. He wouldn't talk to me. He literally never talked. Never. It was so awkward. But after a year, I became used to it. He would leave the house at 8 a.m. and don't come back until 10 p.m. And this was every single day. Every single day. Monday through Friday. Mind you, he didn't have a job. I asked him, "Where are you going?" "Am I a baby?" So I stopped questioning him because I knew the response. Like, why question? Why beat on a dead wall? You know, the same wall. So I just stopped asking where he would go. 6 months out of the year, he was not at the house. He would leave. Asked him, you know, where he been. The first 6 months, he just bust up. Like, no explanation, no nothing. He just bust up. Came back 6 months later, unlocking the door. Where have you been? You know, Nigeria. Then he made this every year thing. So the last 4 weeks, for the whole duration of our marriage, he leaves 6 months. And out of the year to go to Nigeria. While he was there, he never called, never texted, never did anything. Yeah, never communicated with me in any way. And so when he comes back, you know, I asked him how was it, and you know, just excited for him to get to see, you know, what I'm thinking he's seeing his family and stuff. I'm like, and he didn't have a story to tell me. It was good. That's it. It was good. You know, and then he had started, it was dirty in here, and he was always said that it's dirty here. But mind you, I'm like cleaning up excessively, like cleaning up everything, and finally I got so fed up with him saying it's dirty in here. I finally was just like, what is dirty? Like, can you please show me exactly what you were talking about? What is dirty? And he points out a stain in the carpet. So I got down there and I scrubbed the stain. But that's all he can point out because everything else was clean. He just wanted to start making it he was starting to make in his head little excuses as to why, you know, this wasn't going to work between me and him. Then he started accusing me of sleeping with my son's father, you know, and I think that's the motive of marrying a woman with a child, so that they can have things to point out and have excuses, you know, and try to build a case in the event you try to, you know, try to get, what is it called? I forgot the name of it, when you try to get the marriage back, withdraw it from him, because it is possible. I just forgot the name of it. I'll link it if I find it. But anyways, he was just like kind of like building a case, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sleeping with my son's father. My son don't even see his father. I don't even deal with the father. Like, seriously. Then he started encouraging me to deal with the father of my child. And he's like, meet him at a tree and stuff like that. And, you know, so once he started encouraging me, I did take him to go see his father, you know, who stayed like an hour away from me. And then when I did take him, oh, you slept with him. And I'm just confused, like, this man had me mentally bottled. I'm like, what? You the one encouraged me to go down there, and now I'm sleeping with him. Okay, whatever. And so, normally, the third year came around. He left, okay, rewind. So, the first year in the marriage, he ended up presenting me these papers from the Navy. And so he was like, I need you to sign these. I said, for what? What is this? He said, it's for the Navy. Just to let them know that you are aware that I'm going to the Navy. I'm like, so when are you going to Navy? I'm not. I may not even never go. I don't know. I may never even go. This is just in case I do. I'm like, okay. So I signed it. And 2 years later, now we're in the third year of the marriage. Regularly, he left. He left, and his whole 6-month trip. This time, I decided to look what he had on the floor. He had things sorted out, and he kind of left. So I decided to look through his stuff, and I found a whole big old bag of condoms. And I'm like, wow, okay. He's going to go up there, and he's going to screw a bunch of women. So at this point, I'm just mad. And so when he come back, I was like, did you really have to go? Yes, now my grandmother died. Now he has an excuse. And I'm thinking in my head, like, how long did, it take for you to come up with this one? But whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, And at that time, I'm generally meaning this stuff. I'm saying it like this now because I'm, like, so over it. And so, he leaves. And I'm getting documentation in the mail saying, housing. Something about how this is the amount of housing you were granted. It was like $1,200 from the Navy for Laquita, my guy, and himself. And I'm thrown off like, how is he getting this? And he, the Navy, what? Because I forgot about the documentation I signed 2 years ago. And he never told me he was going from that point on. So I totally disregarded that documentation. I took it as if he said, he wasn't going to go, period. So he went to the Navy. And so I didn't want to believe it. I'm like, whatever, maybe, maybe he's finna start now. When he gets back, he's going to tell me all about it and we can celebrate together. Like, this is a big move because according to documentation, you're a sergeant. Like, you must have scored high. I'm like, at this point, happy. Like, yeah, my man moving up in the world. So he didn't come back in the 6 months. He came back in 8 months. And I'm like, okay, mind you, he never called, never texted. I got used to it. Didn't do anything while he was out. I didn't have no way of contacting him. Nothing. So, he comes back in 8 months. And he has bags with locks on it. And that is not unusual. He always had his things packed as if he would leave at any second now. He never hung anything up, or only thing he had in drawers was books. My drawers was books. And he always kept his things packed as if he was going to leave at any given moment. And so, he came back with the locks on a duffel bag. I didn't think anything of it, whatever. Never even thought to even pop the locks open. Never even brung it up to him because I didn't want him to feel like, I was nagging or anything, because he would always compare me to a Nigerian woman and what she would do. So I guess I was trying to be his Nigerian woman and just sit there, basically sit there, shut up and do as I say. And that's what I did. You guys don't understand. This was my marriage. I wanted it to work. I was in it forever. I came in it like, this is it. And whatever goes wrong, or whatever happens from this point on, I signed those papers, and this is a commitment between me, him, and God. And I was going to ride for mine to the end. So, no matter what he did, or I made an excuse in my head of every behavior he had. It's like, it's a culture thing, because he's Nigerian, But, yeah, so he left. Well, he brought the bags in, and then he went to sleep, actually, because he came later that night. And when he came in, he didn't speak to me. He had this thing where I had to say welcome when he comes in. I said welcome. He didn't say nothing. I'm like, okay. He just went to bed. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to set my alarm clock for in the morning to see if you want to talk, Stan. So I set the alarm. He got up, I got up, and I'm trying to talk to him. And he's like, we'll just talk when I get back. And I'm like, okay. So I called my mom. I'm like, yeah, he's home, and da-da. And he got, the same locks on his bag. She was like, I'm tired of them locks. Bust them open. Because I complained about her, to her about everything. Bust them open. I'm like, no, I would never. me. I would never. And so she was like, well, I'm coming over and I'm busting them open. So she like separated the zipper parts so that we can, you know, go ahead and zip it back like he would never know. Even with the locks on there, you can just separate the zippers and it comes open. And so that's what she did. And she pulling out all this documentation from the army. She pulls out an army code with the badges and the specialties and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting here, my heart dropped into my stomach. And so she was like, you know that saying? She was like, he thinks black people are stupid. Because she said it because I've vented to her before about how he would speak about African Americans. And I always thought like, well, why you marry me? You know? He would say like, we're in the mall. He'd be like, nigga, nigga. And point like at African Americans. And I'm like, and he would just do it. Nigga wife. Nigga's wife. Niggas. These niggas. And I'm thinking in my head like, ain't you black? Like, you know, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? Like, what do you think of me? Oh my God, like, seriously? Niggas? These are my people. Like, what do you think of me? Well, that's the only question I had. But anyway, so I've been to my mom about it, like, you know, telling what he was doing. So anyway, she was like, you know, he think black people, he think we're dumb. You know the saying, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in the book. So she took all them books out of my drawer that he was using. And she took all them books he had in there. And sure enough, he had something of everything in those books. Like written documentations and family members' names and receipts, like everything in the book. And then she shook another book and the CD fell out. And she was like, play it. This CD shows him getting his citizenship from the Navy. He slipped it in there before he left. It shows him getting his citizenship from the Navy. So I copied all the stuff, and it's on my computer, my laptop now. Not the one I use for work. Well, whatever, y'all don't know. But it's on one of my laptops now. So I imported all the information on there. Well, maybe he's going to tell me about it when he get home. You know, whatever. Still been naive. In a way, I knew at this point, but I didn't want to believe it. I just didn't want to believe it. So he gets home, and I'm like, so where have you been? He's like, I told you, I went to Nigeria. My grandmama died. What? Blah 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 blah. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yes. I said, so you didn't go anywhere else? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then I walked away, and as I walked away, I told myself, this is over. Fuck his rules. Question him. So, I turned around, I manned up, I said, you're lying. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, you are so against liars. Because he had this thing where he just hated a lie. Like, but he was lying to me the whole time. You know, I'm like, you're so against liars, but you're blatantly lying to me. I said, I know you have your citizenship. No, I do not. Oh, just liars. Oh, you know, just going on about lying. And I said, yes, you do. You're the one lying. No, I don't. I'm like, yes, you do. I know you have it. Instead of this being a situation we can celebrate, you know, you turned this into, you know, something that you're trying to hide. I don't understand why. And he was like, I don't have my citizenship. I said, I have proof. Show me. So I got my laptop and showed him himself holding up his citizenship, shaking the officer's hand. And it was like a whole ceremony, you know, everything. Other people had their people there, and it's like, I wasn't even invited. I didn't even know you was in a Navy. And then, you know, he looked at me as if he seen a ghost. He stopped talking to me again. Totally shut me out. At this point, it's like talking to a wall. What's the point? So I told my mom that he shut, you know, basically I called her, told him he shut me out. She came over there, she got in his face. You know, she told, you know, why are you treating my daughter like this? And how dare you? And, you know, she just spoke her mind. Like, I never seen her so upset, you know. speak to us, you know, and he wouldn't even speak to her. And now she got the feeling how I feel when he did that to me, you know. She was in the situation that I had been in for the last 3.5 years. How he would shut out and not just speak to me. You know, and I would tell her he wouldn't speak to me, and she would always be like, yeah, you're exaggerating. Nobody just can't not speak to you. And I'm like, he doesn't talk to me. He doesn't. It's as if I'm a ghost. Like, only words I really got was roll over when he wanted to have sex. That was it. And so after that, he says, well, you know, my mom left. He was like, she's not allowed to come over anymore. You know, matter of fact, we're getting a divorce because of your mom and because you're sleeping with your baby daddy. And da da da. And I'm sitting here like, in my mind, I'm like, she's now you just trying to find an excuse to get a divorce. Next day he come, this is gonna happen, and I'm not re-signing this lease, and you know, I don't want to be a part of this family anymore. Your mother really upset me, and we're getting a divorce, and it's all your mother's fault. It's her fault. You know, they give me the stern look. It's her fault. All of her fault. And I'm just looking at him like, you crazy bastard. I laid next to you for 3.5 years. Now I'm just paranoid, you know. Now, at this point, I wanted him out my face. I wanted him out my life. Like, I was literally scared of him at this point because you blatantly lied to me. And I was telling him, what? I don't even know if this is your name. I don't even know if his real name is Kim Adijumo. I don't even know anything. If any of it was true. I don't know who this man. At this point, it came to realization, I'm sleeping with the devil. I'm literally sleeping with the devil. Next day, you know, did you find your place? Did you find your place? You're not moving with me. You know, find you a place. And I'm like, no, I'm your wife. I'm coming with you. Like, I'm your wife. No. You got to find your place. You're not living with me. I'm like, so what am I going to do? You know, mind you, I already found a place. When I seen that citizenship, I already got that in gear. Or I knew it was going to happen. I'm just trying to make just to see, like, am I really getting scammed? You know, already you can call somebody, say I'm not gonna leave it. You know, I'm not gonna take the house, whatever. I would have forfeited the security deposit and everything. But he made it clear that I'm not coming with him. He ain't re-signing no lease with me. You know, period. So he pushed all my stuff in the front of the house, couches, everything. 'Cause I bought it all. Again, he wouldn't commit to buying anything with me because, you know, because it would have been a messy divorce. And so he pushed all my stuff in front of the house. So to make a long story short, he had his stuff in the back of the room. I had my stuff pushed in the forward in the room. That was my alarm. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, yeah, and we went our separate ways. Fast forward, 6 months later, I received a finalization of divorce in the mail. So I don't know how the process moved so fast. I didn't have a chance to fight anything. It was a finalization, and that was forwarded to me because I had my mail forwarded to my new address. And that was forwarded to me, and I received that, and it was over with. I couldn't find anything, and so after that, I was just like so distraught, and I started doing research. Come to find out, an African can stay in the country, stay out the country for 6 months. So that's why he left, because he didn't want to be around me. He clearly hated black people. He probably couldn't stand the sight of me, so he believed the 6 months to give up me, and then he had his little plan to be perfect. So until I went to the Navy, everything worked out. He had a master plan. He had it planned out to the T. He had a master plan. I'll give him that. He sure did. And that's when I started researching stuff. Once I, got scammed. And I just found out so much. Like, so it makes sense when he came back in the 8th month that he had a citizenship, because he came back in 8 months, not 6, whatever. And that's when I started seeing the stories, and you know how people were scammed and everything else, and their stories, it was just like so similar to mine. It was just crazy. And it took me so long to record this video. Oh my god, like, again, 2 years January we have been divorced, and I finally accepted it. Am I mad? I'm pissed. Am I sorry that I didn't listen to people? We all make mistakes. I don't know, I'm not sorry, because I use this as a lesson. I'm not gonna, you know, look at a situation that God put me in as anything else but a lesson to help me grow. Do I still think about him? Absolutely. As I stated, that was my husband. And I was prepared to give him all of me. I gave him all of me. Do I still get emotional about it? Absolutely. Am I scarred? Am I, you know, just an upset woman? No, I'm not scarred. It did leave a mental effect on me, and I'll talk about that in another video. It took a lot out of me, because I could not understand how someone so perfect in every way possible still get a divorce. I did everything. I couldn't argue with him. We didn't argue. He came home in a piece of hell because he wouldn't talk to me. You know, what he said, I did it. I was that ID doing he wanted me to be. He even made comments himself. He was like, you know, even a comment, you listen to people. Like, when they speak, just listen. Just listen, because they bury themselves anyway. He'd make a stupid comment like, if you're really my wife. And I'm like, you know, when he did finally speak to, when he had a point to say, and he did finally decide to speak to me, if you're really my wife, then blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, if you're really my wife, okay, we're married. You know, and the whole nigga thing, he's calling African Americans at the malls and stuff, and talking about them. And it was just like, okay, they're me. I just want y'all to be very aware of who y'all dealing with. It's not just Nigerians. This is anybody outside of this country. They will do anything to get in it. Be very, very careful. And this is not everybody. There's good people out there. Some may generally, you know, love you and generally want to be there, but there's a lot of them with motives. And, you know, it messes with you mentally. It really especially if you're not, it's like, I always thought, like, why did you pick me? You know, you could have paid someone, you could have picked a hood rat. You had the audacity to pick someone with sense, you know? Like, he was bougie about who he picked to scam. Like, why me? Like, why me? And then I blame myself, and it's just, be very careful. Make sure you 100% know this person. Matter of fact, don't marry a Nigerian or anybody else outside of the country until you, like, dated them for, like, I say 6 years. If they stay around there, they ain't going long, then, you know, they in it for the count. But it really messed me up mentally. And do I still think about him to this day? Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't. Do I miss my marriage? Absolutely. The flaws and all. I still miss it. Because I was there in my heart forever. That was my marriage. So, I'm just glad and I'm blessed that I'm here today. I think the most out of everything that pisses me off to the core of my heart and that I can never forgive. I forgave him and I let it go. But it's a situation I cannot forgive. I was your scam. When my little brother died, why did you carry his casket? I can't forget you because forgetting you is forgetting him in that moment. So when I think of my brother and I think of his funeral, now I'm reminded of you. And I hate you for that. And for the Nigerians that are out there scamming, trying to create a life for themselves and their families. Think about the person you're hurting. You might not even care, but think about how bad you can really mess this person up and how it can really affect this person's psyche. Yeah. But the only question I have for him is why me? Nothing else. Y'all leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. If y'all have any questions, I can follow this up with a Q&A. Any type of negativity is not welcome. So if you are a Nigerian and you comment negatively on this video, I will just delete it. And yeah, hope to hear from you guys and see you in the next videos. Thanks, boo. Well, thanks. Bye, boos and bags.